Sidamu Hishi Paisano.
Forgino, Sadamu, Hishi, Paisano.
Rotor Race, Sadamu Hishi Paisano.
Rudolph, Sadamu Hishi Paisano. Now, let's begin, shall we? Rudolph, Sadamu, Tosen, Ansamu. I hereby proclaim the deliberations on the fate of mankind have commenced. After a long period of observation, it is time to render our verdict. For ages, we, the Legion of Elite Species, have watched over this world, following the evolution of its people, customs, and civilizations. We have witnessed the rise of the darkness and of mankind, and we've seen the birth of Shadow Wielders, a curious mix of both. The darkness and the light have continued to struggle against each other for supremacy. And then, that struggle came to an end. The 7 Soldiers of Light, they managed to defeat the darkness and seal it away. But then, after time, a new conflict emerged in the world.
You into dust!
The world plunged toward chaos. The darkness, unleashed once again by its disciple Zola, spread across the world. It appeared that the terrible power of the darkness would reign supreme over everything as it had before.
Quit! Not until this world is safe once again!
But the humans defied our predictions. New Shadow Wielders, descendants of the Soldiers of Light, took a stand against the darkness. Led by Shu, they were able to reseal the darkness.
Zola!
That was a turning point. We decided it was time for us to be more than mere observers.
Rudolph, is the official acknowledgement that our policy changed because of the darkness's defeat?
Humans overcoming the darkness twice was so unexpected that it called for an extraordinary response on our part. It's true. We took a vote and changed our entire strategy. The decision was unanimous.
That's why we decided to choose a representative for the world, huh?
Exactly. And so we set about hunting for the world's representative just as rapidly as we were able. As a result, we quickly identified several candidates and began examining them. We soon selected Shu, the Shadow Wielder who controls Blue Dragon, as the representative of the world. Yes, the Shadow Wielder with the power of Blue Dragon.
Did we win? I've reached my decision, Shu.
You what?
I've chosen. You are my candidate.
And what does that mean?
But then, of course, another unexpected event occurred, altering our plans yet again.
Oh yeah, that's right. Noe ran off.
Yes, Noe's departure was indeed unforeseen, but fortunately it has not affected our plans. In fact, I believe that Noe's involvement with the Shadow Wielders created new possibilities for our trials. Their bond has taken our study of the humans in a more positive direction than it might have taken otherwise.
What are you waiting for? Time to cut loose!
All right then.
We know why we're here. Now I suggest a debate.
Let's talk about everything we've learned from the trials we've held so far.
Before we do that, there's something I want to confirm.
What's that, Rotorace?
We must clarify the context and scope of these trials. We can only assess the humans' actions with an understanding of the world in which they're living.
Yes, that's a good point, Rotorace. There's more for us to consider here than the humans alone. Like historical events and social conventions. Darkness, humans, Shadow Wielders, all fall within the scope of mankind for our purposes.
Wait, hold on a second. If that's the case, then don't we really already have our answer? Everybody in that world down there is selfish, after all.
We can't make a decision like this in haste. Even if the humans can be hypocritical, even if they've made the same mistakes over and over, we must consider our judgment here carefully. This decision could lead to the annihilation of an entire species. Do not forget that.
Whatever.
Now then, it's time that we began our deliberations. The subject is the trials of Shadow Wielder Shu, the representative. Do you agree? For the first trial, we used an artificial Shadow Wielder, which we created for the test.
Your results will depend on the choices that you make.
No way! I won't lose! I need more power!
And for the next trial, we employed a pyramid.
Let's clap!
In those trials and in the following ones, Shu and the others chose to settle matters by trying to destroy their adversaries.
That's true, but I'd remind you that those trials were all conducted by Mikhail. It should be clear to all of us by now that the trials he orchestrated were tainted by his personal feelings.
You might have a point. Mikhail was practically obsessed with Shu, after all.
Of course, we're aware of that. It's why I sent you down in the first place. The tests you employed were more nuanced than Mikhail's confrontational approach. As I recall, they explored the humans' thoughts, hopes, and fears.
Bouquet. Wake up, Bouquet. Oh. I want to know more about you. I want to know everything, Bouquet. Your hopes, your dreams. Don't be shy.
Tell me everything.
It's okay.
Yes, Rotorace.
You can tell
The
me
trials you
everything.
employed produced some valuable information about their emotional outlook and thought processes.
Well, okay.
But I have doubts about their integrity. Are you really certain that they were less biased than Mikhail's trials were?
You know what I think? I think you just like that girl.
Ridiculous. My trials simply offered a different perspective. Also, they revealed that humans do try to solve their problems through means other than fighting. That's something to consider.
So we can't describe them as merely an aggressive species? Is that what you're trying to tell us?
I'm not really sure, but still, even if they do fight sometimes, at least they seem to have reasons for doing so.
The sun goes down.
What I'm saying is there are times when they do battle for more than just their own selfish interests.
Then they have reasons for fighting.
So their behavior continues to be a mystery to us.
Yeah, why do those pesky humans like to fight so much anyway?
Perhaps the answer will emerge as we continue. The White Guardians appeared on the scene with a weapon that posed a threat not only to the Shadow Wielders, but also to all of us in the Legion.
What? What's this?
And then, there was the rebirth of Rosakstan. General Logi, the leader of that nation, did battle with Rotorace. And after his apparent defeat, he remained hidden, waiting for a chance to reclaim power.
That's no need for concern. I've taken everything into account.
This will be the first battle of the reunified Rosakstan!
The Shadow Wielders became embroiled in the conflict between the White Guardians and Rosakstan, a conflict that blossomed into full-scale war.
Watching this, even with evidence to the contrary, it seems easy to characterize humanity as a species that relishes battle.
Ah, but you're overlooking one important point. Shu and the others tried to stop the war before it even began.
You're right, they tried, but you'll notice that war broke out nonetheless. And you're overlooking something as well. If they didn't know we were watching, they might not have even tried to stop the conflict from escalating.
Perhaps, but they did try. That is indisputable. I believe that we should factor that into our consideration.
You do have a point.
All right! It's working, guys!
But that situation is difficult to evaluate. It came to an unexpected end because of Mikhail.
I will kill you all.
If Mikhail hadn't gotten involved, who knows how it would have ended or what the humans would have done.
Yeah, they could have gone on fighting forever for all we know.
Now, Hildegard, Forgino, tell us about the trials that you two conducted. You two put the humans through trials, both together and separately. Surely you must have something to say about them.
The first thing I'd say is that you guys pick some boring trials. Where's the fun in doing things the old normal way?
Yeah, the two of us sure did have some laughs during those trials.
They always had something curious to say.
Indeed. I believe the concepts of right and wrong in their world are extremely unclear.
We must make allowance for their vague thinking. Their consciousness changes with each new event. That ambiguity may well be the source of the paradoxes and hypocrisy in their civilization.
And if they're unable to resolve their ambiguity, then I wonder how long they'll be able to maintain their civilization before it collapses entirely.
This has been informative. But now let's look at the issue only in terms of Shu.
Are you implying that you think there's some kind of paradox to his actions?
Actually, I don't think there is. If you examine all the humans' actions, a trend begins to emerge.
And what's that?
That their actions follow consistent patterns, of course.
And can you share with us what those patterns are, Hildegard?
Let's see.
Well, let me start with the most obvious one. They want to eliminate the Legion of Elite Species. None of you can deny that their behavior points in that direction. They want to find a way to destroy us. Let me explain. First, they set off on a journey to gather their friends and reawaken their shadow powers.
Clue! Great to see you!
Yeah, you too, Marumaru. So are you okay, Klug? Yeah, thanks to you guys we are. You were great! All right, I'll go. Phoenix and I will help.
After completing that task, they journeyed to Laibach, where they uncovered Buoyla and tried to gather information from that facility to use against us. And now they intend to head to yet another Legion facility, Zemay.
Based on all of those actions, it seems clear to me that they intend to attack and destroy us.
But how can you be sure of that?
What?
It's true that they may want to defeat us, but that doesn't necessarily mean they want to do so through force. They may have other methods in mind.
Perhaps, but we have no evidence that they won't try to use force.
Examining the final trial should help clear up any confusion that we might have about this point.
There's a lot more to humanity
As
than
you can
just
see,
that.
this is the final test between Shu and myself.
I understand.
In that trial, he simply, and rather foolishly, launched an attack against me without even making an attempt to understand the situation
You're a bunch
beforehand.
of cheats. So if I defeat you, then I'll win this final trial, right?
You really believe that? Do you actually think you can defeat the Legion of Elite Species?
You bet. I'll destroy all you guys. And starting here with you, I'm gonna shut the Legion down.
And if we cast our minds back, we'll see that the same attitude has repeated in other situations.
Shining Blue Burst!
It's hard to gain an understanding of someone who attacks rather than converses with you.
But they had little reason to talk with us. Not after their first encounters with Mikhail set us up as their enemies.
There is some merit to that argument. But taking everything we know into consideration, I think our only conclusion is that humans are simply too aggressive. And those are my thoughts on the matter. All right then. Is there anything left for us to discuss? We've completed our task. We've analyzed everything. It is now time to make our decision. We will now take a vote to determine what the fate of humanity will be. We'll decide if mankind is worthy of continued existence. For Gino?
It doesn't matter to me.
And you, Hildegard?
Against.
Your vote, Rhodorace?
Abstain.
So now this whole thing comes down to what Rudolph decides.
Against. 2 against, 2 abstentions. So we have rejected the survival of mankind. Now, by the authority of the Legion of Elite Species, I hereby proclaim that from this moment forward, we will begin the process of purging all of humanity from the face of the planet.
As if you hadn't already decided that before we started. This outcome was determined before we even began.
Rudolph Sadamu Tosin Gelda! Hear me, humans. We are the Legion of Elite Species. We are observers of this world and its guardians. I repeat, we are the Legion of Elite Species. And we have reached a decision about your fate.
疲れた顔しておはよう言って寝不足気取ってイメージ作ってるの